do some sort of intro.
Yes,
and then
we should.
If we just jabber on between, then we can cut that out if we want.
Yeah. So what intro should we do? What episode is it? Okay, we're in the low teens, right? We're probably like 13ish.
We might only be on 12.
But if we count that last one,
maybe. Well, I think that would put us at 12.
Okay.
I don't remember. Here, I have the power to look this up.
Oh, I know. I do too. But well, here, while you look it up, we can at least say hello.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
This is Mike and
Colin
from Carida Cast. We're right now trying to figure out what episode it is because I think that just has to be a running theme that neither of us can count.
1, 11, 2, 3. Oh, glad these are in order. 6. Oh, look at that. This is 13 because Verily A New Hope Act 1 was episode 12.
Okay, so this is welcome everyone to episode 13, and it's also the day after the trailer dropped for The Rise of Skywalker.
2 days. I thought it was on Monday.
Oh, yeah, today Wednesday? Oh, yeah, this is, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what day it is either.
Right. Yes, so it's 2 days. 2 days after. I was still thinking we were going to record on Tuesday. 2 days after, and I watched it. I think I watched the trailer like 5 times, maybe.
Yeah, that's about what I'm up to as well.
Because I watched it once on my phone, and then I didn't watch it anymore Monday night because I wanted to watch it on my TV. Mm-hmm. So then Apple TV updated, and it was on the Apple TV, and then I watched it a bunch of times on that. So I was very happy and very, very. The C-3PO part made me very sad.
For those, that was touching.
Huh? Yeah. Yes. But, to be fair, people are getting all worked up. If you remember the Force Awakens trailer, everyone thought Finn was going to be the next Jedi.
Yeah, who knows what the situation's going to be.
Yes. So, I mean...
all out of context.
Right. But it makes me very excited. Like, I've been excited about the Rise of Skywalker, but my thoughts were elsewhere towards the Mandalorian.
Oh my God! Don't get me started. I am so excited for the Mandalorian.
Yes, I am. I am extremely excited. Well, and so those just joining us, I think we have like 4 loyal fans. And if I can get my wife to listen, we can get 5. But since we've last recorded, which was our Shakespeare one, which I know we did it, but I still think that's a masterpiece in so many levels. Because we haven't talked, but Marcus was doing C-3PO and Uncle Owen. Like, I wish I had a camera just to videotape, video him doing those 2 voices back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
That was enjoyable for me. So
yeah, I bet.
But since then, my daughter Zoe has become an official Mando Merc.
That's right, at Harrisburg Comic and PopCon, right?
Yep. Yeah, we had kept it secret. She didn't know it was going to happen. Like, we submitted her stuff because she turned 18, I think, the Thursday before PopCon, and I turned in her stuff a little early, and the Mando Mercs. What was really nice was the Mando Mercs recognized that all that she had done, because she's been trooping since she was 6.
Yeah.
So they were, and these were guys who barely knew her, some of them, and so I had my new experience of submitting costumes and having to fix things, but that was kind of neat. But so she got accepted, and then I wasn't allowed to tell her, and then they showed up while she was recording her podcast, and I think she started crying, which was good.
Yeah, I remember because I squired that day.
Yep.
I was there, and so I watched them all prepping and getting ready to go. They did this They like did their own pep talk. They gathered in a huddle and were like getting ready for it. And they're like, "All right, let's go."
Yeah, it was a lot of fun because I knew what was happening. Because it was funny because so she went to college, and her getting that whole picture thing was in and of itself a disaster because I took her to Marty's to get her photos. The one day she came home from college, she was just going to come get her pictures and then go home. I brought season 3 armor, season 2 wig, and forgot her shoulder bells the first time. And then the next time we went to do it, Marty couldn't make it, so I had to take the pictures, and I took some of the pictures wrong. So it was just a big to do to finally get it in.
Oh dear.
And then we were going to Harrisburg PopCon, and she was like, you know what, I don't think I'm gonna wear my armor, and I was just like, just wear your armor, just trust me. I said, just wear your armor. People want to see you in your armor. So, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. I mean, it made me. I know you and I mainly talk about 501st stuff, and I think the 501st sometimes, I don't know if they get a bad name, but they get a reputation of being nitpicky for armor and stuff. But the Mandos are pretty tough too. Like the Mando, I actually had to heat and bend some armor, to pass the pictures. So.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Now, do they have, with like their version of a CRL, did they were they more picky because she is a on-screen character?
I think
would they be as picky as if you were to create your own original Mandalorian?
Probably in some ways, because they have CRLs pretty much just like ours. It has a list, and depending on the character. Like Sabine, they don't have all the seasons. So, like, we had to go through, like, luckily Zoe has season 1, 2, 3, and epilogue. She doesn't have 4 done. And then Sabine has, like, subs, like, there's heavy armor Sabine and whatever. So we had to pick one that we had all the parts. And so some things were slightly more picky, but they're really picky about fit and finish. Mm-hmm. Which the 501st is too. But especially for the animated characters, that's a weird call. Because the human being, a lot of times, the fit and finish pictures you're looking on, human beings don't bend the way certain things work on human beings.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and now I haven't tried a custom Mando, but just talking to them, because I've been to a Mandalorian armor party now too, which was kind of neat. But their custom Mandos, they're pretty picky. Like your helmet armor has to match your armor. Like I thought before, you just throw some Boba Fett plates on and you're done. And it's not that way at all.
It has to match in that, like, the same color or like same thickness of material.
Type, like a certain helmet goes with a certain chest plate.
Oh.
So like if you have they were trying to explain to me, and now I know what people think when I'm talking Star Wars armor, and they have no clue because it was going over my head. But like certain armor plating goes with certain helmets. So and I guess if you have a good story for why maybe your helmet doesn't match or something like, but overall, like you have to have different helmets for different plating and stuff like that. And then they have like a whole bunch of soft goods, and they have to have like we ran into Sabine. The problem with the Sabine armor, the one piece of the chest armor, the center triangle wasn't quite up to scale because the armor I made season 3 out of was an old pattern, and then her epilogue is the new pattern. So that was a little bit of a contention we had with that. And then their weapons too. You have to submit a picture of your weapons too.
Oh,
which you don't have in the 501st. I don't even think you're required to have a weapon.
No, you're not.
So, and it's a totally different organization, but at the roots of it, it's pretty much the same. In regards to getting in and stuff like that. So, but that was pretty neat, and I think the Mandalorians are going to be very busy this fall when the Mandalorian comes out.
Oh, absolutely. Because I'm already seeing some companies, some armor makers we're like selling versions of the helmet.
Yeah, I have his blaster done. It has to go together and be painted in my garage, the big tall one. Mm-hmm. I have the files for all of his armor. So I just need to get someone to sew. And then I'm good.
Now, do you have the blaster all sanded down and puttied too?
I have it.
Or?
I have the stock all sanded down. The other one, I printed it on a super high detail. So I think when I hit it with one coat of filler primer, it will probably look pretty good. Because I ran the print, so the machine lines, it looks almost like machine metal.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see. It's a big... The only thing I have to reprint is the two-pronged fork. Because my printer, I think my printer hung up and I got some weird wonky lines on it. But that's it's like 12 hours of printing. But that's what I have your stuff to slice. That's non-Star Wars armor?
No, that's Skyrim armor.
Skyrim armor. Okay. I have yours to slice to fit on the printer yet. And I've just been I'm trying to get 000's arms fixed. And that's been taking up my printer time right now. But yeah, so the Mandalorian, I mean, the service, I'm already signed up for the service. I'm waiting for that to happen.
Yeah, me too.
And I did the Disney Plus, whatever, that 3-year plan.
Yeah, same.
Because I knew I was going to buy it anyway, so I was like, and I think I think the Mandalorian is going to really change how we see Star Wars. In my opinion.
Definitely the way it's presented to us.
Right. But I mean, it's going to, like, there was a while when we didn't think we were getting any more movies. And that's where I think the Clone Wars, like, kind of filled in. But I think they never really felt like they were, like, 100% backed by everybody because they were a cartoon. Mm-hmm. You know, like, there were certain Star Wars fans.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Like, they were like, they'd kind of look at you like, it's a cartoon. Where I think the Mandalorian is going to be something totally different.
Yeah, you're right. It's definitely going to make the Star Wars universe feel more real.
Yes.
And I think because of the way it'll be filmed for TV, like TV filming is different. It just ends up looking different in the final product than like a movie, and it almost feels more grounded that way. I think that's what it's going to do to the series. I think that's what it's going to do to Star Wars.
Oh, I agree.
Make it feel more real to us.
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, ever since we saw the panel, because I saw you coming out of the panel at Celebration, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were hunting for our Mandalorian posters when I think we ran into you, and ever since I saw that, I was just like, oh man, I can't
Oh yeah,
wait.
that got me so stoked.
And they've kept it pretty under wraps too.
Yeah, that's true. They have a couple of the merchandise things. They're like, oh, they have some characters and like a worn down, rebuilt ATST or something. Right. But that's about it. There's not really any information on anything.
Well, and the ship, to me, invokes the cool part of the ships from Clone Wars.
Yeah.
But it also has that feel of the Firefly television show, at least in my opinion. Like, it almost feels like that ship is going to be almost like the A-Team van, you know? Like,
yeah, I can see that. The gathering hub for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Well, you need a good ship in Star Wars. Like, I think people forget that. But, you need, you know, like, if you think of the series that have really touched people, like, you have the Falcon on that, and I would argue some of the thing with the prequels, as much as I really liked them, there was no ship that you could really fall in love with in the prequels. There was tons.
Yeah, not really, huh?
There was tons of cool ships, but none. But then the Clone Wars, you had the drop ships, that eventually came into the cartoon.
Yeah.
And then you have the Ghost in Rebels. Mm-hmm. And
which did you see in the new trailer? The Ghost is in
oh, I know.
Whatever that's gonna be.
Yeah, that big battle. Well, yeah, and then someone was trying to say that one ship was the Mandalorian ship. I saw someone circling some little ships. I'll just be happy with the Ghost for now. We'll see. But yeah, that looks like, back to the trailer. I mean, it's funny that C-3PO is such a big thing because in the last couple weeks, I've been starting to redo some of Safy's 000, and we're going to build her a C-3PO as well. Like she's going to get a C-3PO by the end of 2020. And
no kidding.
Yeah, so
spoiler alert.
Yeah, so and then Zoe wants a protocol droid too. So probably within the next year, I'll have 2 more protocol droids in my house. So you have to get working on your BT.
Yeah, I just need to get my hands on files to cut out the because I have a friend of mine we're just waiting for me to pass him the CNC files. He's got a machine up and running at one of the shops I work at. Well,
we have to get you in touch with Choo Choo or somebody. Or no, I know I'm not going to say their name because they might not want to send on that thing. I'll have to get. I know who to get a hold of to get you those. But yeah, that's what we're going with the droid builders to Air and Scare. So for those who are in the eastern area, Air and Scare's at the Air and Space Museum, not the one in DC, but the one at the airport. I forget what airport, in Virginia, I think it is. And it's right there. There's a space shuttle there, and the Enola Gay is there. The Blackbird, one of the Blackbird U-2 spy planes or whatever is there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're going with the droid builders because Safi wanted to go, so she's technically a droid, I'm a droid builder because I built her costume. So
that's still odd to me that they count that. I mean, I get it. He is a droid. But...
Yeah, I think a lot of there's very few people in the costume. More people just build a static C-3PO. Yeah. Like I would say for every like person in a costume of any protocol droid, there's probably 20 static ones built. Just from I'm in that group, and I would say I'm meeting very few people that are actually building it as a costume. Because you have to have a specific body size.
Yeah.
And you have to not mind being bolted in.
That's true. That is a big one, huh?
Yeah. Because no matter who you are, no matter who your suit is, at one point in time you're bolted in that thing to not be able to move. And I know some guys are scaling them up because there's a I think he's in the New York garrison. He scaled his up to 000 and stuff. But again, that's still, no matter if you scale it to fit you or not, eventually you have to put that head on and your arms on, and you can't reach your head with your arms.
Yeah.
No matter how it's cut. So, yeah. I just pulled up on YouTube the trailer, and I'm looking at that. I paused at the scene with all the ships. I see a ship that does kind of look like it. I don't know if that is it. Well, and I wonder if his ship is going to be a common ship.
See, that's what I'm thinking. Like everybody can afford it. It's a good, fast but reliable vehicle sort of deal, like the Civic of epic space hero ships.
Well, and I think initially, the Millennium Falcon was supposed to be like that. It was supposed to be like the common transporter. So it looked like you're pulling up on a minivan, but it had a super high engine in it, and they kind of let that fall. I don't know if they let that fall by the wayside. They just don't bring it up as much.
They keep sort of saying it in like all the books and comics and all the extended universe stuff, but in the movies they don't really. You'd think you'd see more of them,
right? And I wonder
what they want it to be.
And I wonder if that's also one of those things they don't want to confuse the audience.
Yeah, it could
like
be.
If you have like 6 Millennium, they'll be like the average, not the average person that's not quite as much invested in the fandom as the people you and I hang with. They might not understand that. That's my thought.
Somebody sees one in a scene somewhere and they're like, "Oh my God, Han Solo it's the Millennium Falcon." Like, no, calm down. That's just a regular ship. It belongs to John Smith from Corellia.
Right.
Like,
yeah. So that's I don't know. I'm excited for all that stuff coming out. Are you trooping the Science Factory?
When is that? The 17th?
Yeah.
Maybe.
We're probably trooping that Saturday because the Mandalorian mercs and the droid builders are are there on Saturday and Sunday doesn't work for us. So we might, if they'll let us, we might troop Saturday. But
looks like I'll be working in Florida that weekend. This will be the first time in 3 years I won't be at the troop in the Science Factory, I guess.
Yeah, I think I trooped that a bunch, and I squired. I think that was the second time I ever squired was the Science Factory. And we talked a little bit about squiring before. Squiring's tough. You know.
Yeah, it can be.
Well,
it's easier when when somebody lets you borrow their nice camera, then it's a little bit more fun.
That's true. But for me, I was the do you need a drink? Are you okay guy? You know. But
yeah, that's true.
Well, and it also depends. Just to go back to trooping for anybody, it's when you're new to trooping, you need. It's weird. You need more squiring that you don't know you need. You know, like, because a lot of guys when they first start trooping, they're all pumped and they're amped and they're not careful. You know, like they'll wander off or something like that.
Yeah.
So or they don't hydrate. That's when you get.
I found it's a lot of one that I was never. I've been squiring a lot lately because there's other fixes I need to make to my armor now, but and also I'll have to like work the same day just because of my schedule, so it makes only sense to just show up and squire. But one thing I've been doing a lot lately is having to moderate like photo lines.
Right.
And like, yeah, all right, you guys, all right, next people, all right, okay, you guys are done, next people.
Yeah, and that's where like I've most of the time when I squire, I try to remember to wear a shirt that shows I'm not just some stranger, you know, telling people where to stand for pictures. But yeah, that's important. I mean, especially when people just start crowding in, because then no one gets pictures. You know, it's like that fine line between being nice and just, you know, asking people to move.
You get like a kid that comes charging up towards them, like when somebody else has their group going on. It's like, whoa, buddy! All right, slow down.
Well, I've already accidentally, you know, bumped a couple kids with like if I have my blaster in my hand and someone lets their kid run in that blind, you know, the TK, yeah. You have that cone of blindness around you. You know, and
it's everywhere except for the tubes right in front of your face.
Right, and I swung my blaster up because someone was taking a picture and someone had their little kid, and it hit the poor little guy somewhere in the shoulders on up. So yeah, that's where the squires are super important for that. Yeah. Let me think. Oh, since we last talked, we had the census. Have we ever talked about the census here on?
I don't know if we've talked about the census before.
Just because I know some people read either my feed or they hear me talking to people and they're like, "What are you talking about?" You know. But for those that aren't in our group, and I think everyone has one. I would assume Rebel Legion has something equivalent, and Mando Mercs, I would assume.
You think they'd have to keep track of who has and has not trooped a year. If they have a rule like you have to troop once a year, there's got to be some way to figure that out.
Yeah, and I think they all have that rule. Like, so anyone listening that wants to join any of the groups, I'm pretty sure all the groups have a rule that you have to be in costume for an event once a year, one calendar year. And how they keep track of that is we call it a census. And I didn't realize it was in October, because I just always remembered you get a note and you do the census, but it's in October, right? Did it start in October?
Yeah, I think it started at the beginning of the month,
and then
or the end of last month, maybe,
but somewhere around this time. And then we just fill out a survey where you basically just self-report your last troop that you've done. And and if you update if you have any, like if you still have costumes or don't have costumes or something, I think, right? I've never had to do anything other than just report my last troop because I've had the same costume since I joined.
Yeah, no, me neither. I think you can update which costumes you have. I think you can also update that in your regular profile. So I don't know. I don't remember if that's specific census info or.
Right, but I do know you have to. I think you have to put your last troop, and you maybe you have to put, if you're on any of the specialty groups. Like if you're in Mos Eisley Police Department or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's if anyone's out there hears talk about the census, that's what it is.
Or if you're in the garrison and you're hearing us talk about it and you haven't done it yet, do that.
Yes,
so
I don't know
get put on as a reserve member.
Right. Yeah, I forget what it's called, but yeah, you have to. Do you have to resubmit?
Yeah.
Or is it after being on reserve for a year, then you have to resubmit? I don't know.
I think I honestly don't know, because I've never known anybody in that situation where I don't know if they have to resubmit photos or no.
Yeah.
I think so, because if they're dropped down to the status where they can only see like the equivalent of academy threads, then I would think that essentially puts them at the same level where they need to resubmit again.
And so that's really, for any of the groups, I would think if you're interested in doing it, trooping once a year and doing the census that's relatively easy. And I think they always give you like a warning too. Like I know 1 year, like my second year, I wound up having to troop like one time right before my time was up, just because of the way things were going. Like certain years I just couldn't troop. But back then, we had like 8 troops a year. So if it happened to be on 8 days you were working, you were kind of out of luck.
Yeah.
But those troopers listening, you can, as long as it's an official 501st event and you're in costume. I troop in Maryland a good bit. So if by some chance my last troop was a Maryland troop, it still counts.
Census stats.
What percentage of our garrison did?
We were at the top, but now we are at 83%. Garrison Carida has 83% census completion.
That's pretty good.
For
a garrison our size, that's pretty good.
145 out of 172.
That's not bad. It's over though, or is it still going on?
No, it still goes till the end of the month.
Oh, good. Well, that's so. Anyone listening that's in our garrison that hasn't done the census, go do the census. And I don't know if I can hook that link into the show notes to that or not, but yeah, that's.
In previous years, I used to put it. I know it was October because I would put it off until after the Millersville parade because I wanted to have a more recent.
Oh right.
Not that it matters if you've trooped at least once, and by then I'd already usually trooped at least once, but
yeah.
I don't know, something about having a more recent one made me feel more accomplished or like I was more active than I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I just with everything with Zoe going to school and just everything, I've been trooping less, but I got to start looking I got to look at what's coming up, because I know with the rise of Skywalker, I'm not trooping that night because I want to see the movie right away.
Yeah, no, I mean it's me too. I think I told you last night I ended up getting the tickets to that.
Yeah, you and I are both going to see it at 5:00.
Yep.
And then so it's a 2 hour and 45-minute movie, so it's probably a 3 hour movie with the credits.
Yeah. And then another 10 minutes of sobbing in the theater and.
Yep. And then if we could probably record a show after, it won't even be that late.
We'll see. Remember, I don't live over that way anymore. It's an hour drive back home.
Well, we just find one. We find one going towards your place. We find somewhere to stop. In that go, head towards your way. Has to be somewhere open.
We'll see. Olivia's excited to see it, but also has to work early the next morning and is on call all day, so she's worried about getting it. It is what it is.
I understand that. I with the Force Awakens, I think the 2 weeks of Force Awakens, I think I went to New York City, got home at 5 in the morning, went to work. And then we went to, like 2 nights later, we went to a midnight showing. Got home at 4 in the morning and went to work. And then I think I trooped and went and watched like 4 more times that weekend. So I know what it's like to burn it pretty close.
Now I know we have some. I saw they're not unlocked yet because not all the theaters have confirmed their times, but there are some that are like days after the premiere. Are you gonna try and troop?
Oh, definitely. I trooped the Exton Movie Tavern for I want to say Solo or something like that. And I'd never been to one of the movie taverns, and that was a fun troop.
Okay.
Because then they fed us and stuck us in a theater to watch it after we were done.
Oh, nice.
And it was. Have you ever been to a movie tavern?
No, I haven't.
Like the waiter comes up and takes your order like during the movie.
Well, that kind of sounds annoying to me.
Well, it would have been, but we had already seen it twice. Like
okay.
it probably
that helps.
It would have been more annoying if I hadn't seen it, but it was pretty cool because you had a little button you could hit and they would come like bring you food and stuff.
Oh, cool.
So,
is there a bar?
Yeah.
Oh, then I'm in.
So I don't know if that's one that's up or not. But yeah, I got to look at what's coming up because there'll probably be a bunch like that's the Christmas season for troops and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then the spring starts hitting, and then it'll be celebration before we know it.
I need to I should try and connect on the one of the Florida garrisons boards because I'm going to be worried, especially in the like early of next year in the springtime. I'm going to keep working a lot down in Florida lately. That's where they're going to be sending me. We have a lot of gigs there. I'll just start bringing my armor and trooping with the Florida garrison.
Yeah, you just got like rent a storage unit, Okay. Well, I don't know if I'd leave my armor in a Florida storage unit. You come back and it'd just be a big goo.
Be a puddle, yeah.
Well, I'm trying to think what armor could you do that you could like if you did a biker scout, that'd be easy to tote.
I would even if I invested in like a Imperial officer or something like that. As much as I would hate to have my face revealed, it'd be a real easy way to.
How about an animated pilot? I know this guy that's almost done making an animated pilot helmet. Still sitting on my workbench.
I wanna pilot I don't know if they're working on a CRL for it or not, or if it's even would be a 501st character. I want to do Griff from Rebels. I have the right body size for it. If I don't take the helmet off, nobody would know I'm not that old.
Well, I wonder who. Well, you know who that's. He's probably more of a Rebel Legion, I bet, because he's not an Imperial.
No, I mean he's ex-Imperial. Well, nobody really knows. They haven't really actually revealed his backstory, but.
But I'm right now. I have. So for those listening, I hope you know that I make helmets. I have the helmet. It's my third attempt at this mold. It's all in silicone now. I just got to make the mother mold. But I started making the hoses as well. Because the hoses are different than any hoses you can buy. So I cut a bunch of rings and put them on a wooden dowel. And as soon as I get enough, it just takes a while to get them. I have to clean them and put them on. I have about 6 inches done. Once I get 18 inches done, then I will mold that in silicone too. And then I can pour the hoses as well. That look just like the animated hose.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, so that's my plan because they're flat. If you look, they don't look like they look way different. Because almost all those hoses you get are rounded because they usually have like a spring or something inside. But in the pictures, they're actually flat. Are you looking the picture up?
I am. Oh, you're right.
And so, I think I even posted a picture of a bowl full of flat rings. That's what I'm doing with them.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm going to pour
them. It almost looks like they're almost directly next to each other. It's closer to one long, smooth tube just with divots, rings inside it rather than separate parts.
Yeah, so I took a piece of PVC pipe and I just cut it into rings. So I took about a half hour and just cut it into I forget how many millimeter rings, and then I just have to clean all the burrs off, and I just slide them on this thing, and I'm just going to put a piece of cardboard between each one and glue them in, and pull the cardboard out, and I'm going to mold them in the same stuff that Safi shorts are made out of.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll be flexible, and then I think I'm just going to put rare earth magnets in them and put them in the helmet.
Yeah, because even behind the pipe, the tube, it still looks like it's just flat there. They don't have any bleeds or anything.
Yeah, so I'm gonna cut a metal plate that fits into that flat part, and then just put rare earth magnets in the end of them, and then they'll just snap in.
Now, do all the TIE pilots have the tubes all the time? Or is there a version, are they working on a version without the tubes?
In the animated, the tubes disappear and appear as needed. Like they always have the tubes when the helmet's on. But when they pull the helmet off, sometimes the tubes are there and sometimes they're not.
There's just magically no tubes.
Right. I ran into that when I did Ketsu for Safi. Ketsu she'd have the hoses on 1 minute and then she'd turn her head and the hoses were gone. So But with those rubber hoses I'm making, I can run a piece of metal down, a piece of flexible or bendable metal, so you can bend them to the shape you want, and it'll hold the shape.
That would be cool.
So that's the plan. If I just got to get all my little projects caught up, but I'm trying to get that helmet done here before Thanksgiving. It's just doing the mother mold. For those that have never done molds, it's the outer shell. And most mother molds are 1 or 2 pieces. This one's probably going to be like 7 pieces because there's so many undercuts. And it's more like one of those things, like once I start it, I'll be fine. It's just the actual starting it process is, I'm dragging my feet.
I see. Did you end up scaling down that fin that goes on the little post that goes on top of the fin? I
scaled it a little bit, but what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to wait till I get my first pull, and then I'm going to see about making one. I have a new liquid resin printer, so if I print it with that, there'll be no print lines. Because I don't know if you ever saw a liquid resin printer, but it actually uses UV light to cure resin, and it pulls it out of the liquid. It's like a inverted 3D printer. And
yeah, I've seen those.
And it's almost like perfectly smooth. So I'm probably going to scale it down and then print it with that, so it'll be perfectly smooth. So
that makes sense. Look at this. I didn't realize. I guess I forgot whatever scenes they were in. Rebels has an AT-AT pilot. Well, you gonna work on that too?
Well, that's what Chad he runs the. He runs the buckets, Star Wars buckets on Facebook, and that's what he wants. He wants to make the animated AT pilot. So I am looking on, like, if you look at the little buttons that are on the front of that AT helmet, they almost look like larger versions of the same bolt covers that are on C-3PO's arms. So I'm gonna zoom, and I have all those files for making 000. So I'm gonna zoom those up and try to make them look more alike and put on the end. So yeah, we've already talked about that too, the AT-AT pilot. And there's a couple other little greeblies there that I can mold. There's no real good pictures of them though, so it's almost like you have to look at those pictures and look at the real AT-AT and decide what they did, because that's another one I'd like to either make a kit where you just convert it, or make a whole nother mold and it just comes out all together.
Because it's looking like there just aren't any pictures of the lower torso.
Right, but the back of the helmet's kind of shaded too, so there's some of those details it's hard to tell if it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
But again, I think for the average person that wants a helmet, if you just get those front things that hang down and the little caps on the ends and a couple little things, because I think on the TV or on the movie they have pointy things that come out of those where the hoses hook, but in the cartoon they're round.
Yeah, they're rounded.
So
weird.
This is our helmet talk for all those that are still listening. That
if anybody remembers our podcast exists, I'm actually starting to forget that we are currently recording.
Yes. Well, that's all right.
It keeps slipping my mind every so often.
Yeah. So Yeah, but I mean, with all the costumes coming out, like the other one, I like the red stormtrooper, but I'm not going to even get excited about that until I see. Make sure it's not just like another Phasma, just like a one hit.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I think from a design standpoint alone, I would love to do one of those. They're so badass looking.
Yeah, well, I tell you my thoughts well, I think they're all clones. That's my opinion. But is there a chance they're all clones of Rey?
I mean, that would be trippy.
Well, because I keep going back to the scene in The Last Jedi when he mentions about a girl and that sets Kylo off, and he like he chops up the whole control panel.
Oh yeah, from Force Awakens.
Force Awakens. What did I say? Last Jedi. Yeah, from Force Awakens. You know what I mean? Like that it sometimes I just wonder if there's a significance there.
I'm wondering, like, because they're being called openly Sith troopers. Are they going to be troopers with the Force then?
Well, either that, or I wonder if they were. I wonder if they were all frozen, like almost like it was like a plan B when a certain thing happened. Then they all got unfrozen.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
You know what I mean? Like, because it shows those things coming out of the water. Like, I just wonder if it was just like a plan B. So then once he gives the word or whatever, once something's tripped, then all of a sudden he has a standing army.
Well, I mean, really, the First Order was the plan B, so wouldn't this be a plan C?
Yeah, or plan B when he like plan B if he totally got annihilated. Like, because I think the clones were kind of a surprise to the Jedi the first time they found them. So, what's to say there wasn't another set sitting around?
Yeah, that's true. Who was regulating... What happened to the Kaminoans after the Clone Wars were over and the formation of the... I don't think... Have we seen any content, at least in the current canon universe, about
No. If Zoe was here, I could probably ask her, and she'd probably know exactly what happened to him. But I don't think so, unless it was hinted to in some of the remember those unfinished Clone Wars episodes they published that weren't, like, the graphics weren't done, the Bad Batch or something like that. Maybe some.
I don't think they have. Maybe they will. They didn't hint to it in any of the stuff that they've released for us for whatever they're going to be releasing next year for that 12
No,
episode.
remember the Bad Batch they released that weren't finished? They were just the it was an animated thing, but it was the real rough cut animated. They released that. I didn't know if any of that, because I watched those once. I didn't really watch them that closely. But yeah, so I don't know if, like, that could be, because that's another thing that they hinted to about clones in the Force Awakens too, didn't they? Didn't they hint, like, Hux or someone?
I don't think they. I think they joked, like, were they clones? And then no, he was like, no, they're not.
Right, but I mean, I'm saying, like, so they've kept that alive in the sense that, for the average viewer that was, like, reminded, oh yeah, there were clones,
Yeah, I guess so. I'd have to go back and rewatch. I don't remember that exchange, or I remember the exchange, but I don't remember what specifically they said.
But yeah, I'm just wondering if they were clones of someone who was really strong with the Force, and she was either a clone that escaped, or, like, maybe she was the little girl they were using to make the clones, and like, Kylo helped her escape, or, like, and then erased her memory, when he left her on Jakku or something. Or none of that could mean anything. But that scene with him chopping up the panels has stuck with me since I first saw it. Like he almost knew her or something.
Oh. Yeah, that was kind of weird, the way they did that. Like, there was supposed to be more to it eventually.
Right.
But you think they would have gotten to it by the end of the movie. Like, especially if they were putting the next movie in the hands of somebody else that wasn't J.J. Abrams. You'd think he would have made sure that if that was a significant detail, they would have, been sure to do a callback before the end of the movie, not have to wait all the way this far unless he's J.J. Abrams is the new Palpatine and preparing for
right
any scenario, no matter what the movie that was made in the middle.
Yeah. Or, I mean, it could just be they did similar to what Lucas did, where you just put a lot of vague stuff out there and you see what sticks in people's minds, and then you kind of go run with that, But yeah, so I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see Lando back.
I think it's going to be when I was watching the trailer, I kept thinking to myself, like, oh my God, this is going to just destroy everything I know about Star Wars. This is like the end for now.
Yeah, I wonder.
It's the furthest down. Like, I get it's not the end of Star Wars as the universe. They're still going to be creating content, but it's like the last thing. It'll like everything that's going to be created, as far as we know, like beyond that with the Mandalorian, is all within existing space, the time period we know. But this is like the end of the story as of now. This is it.
Yeah,
tiny details in between.
I think it's like, to me, it's going to feel like when I saw, the I guess the Revenge of the Sith. When I saw that, I kind of thought in my mind it was it. Like, I never thought there'd be any more Star Wars when I saw that in the theater. Return of the Jedi. I saw that in high school. And I pretty much thought there wasn't going to be any more Star Wars after that either. So it'll probably be like kind of like those feelings. But then I still wouldn't be surprised if in 20 years we get, Rey coming back to do something.
Yeah, I bet. I know that I think for the foreseeable future that this is going to be kind of the end point of our Star Wars timeline that we're going to get. I don't think there's going to be too much extended content released beyond this movie.
Yeah.
For now. I personally would not like in 2 decades to have anything go past it. No. I like a good conclusion. I like a story that has ended. Yeah. And the ending can be celebrated.
Well, and honestly, at least in my opinion, if they do with any other content what they've done with these, I'll be happy.
That's fair.
Like they haven't let me down yet. Like, I could probably pick little things here and there, but overall, I can't say that I haven't been extremely pleased. Even with Resistance, I really wasn't planning on watching that, and that to me has become a pretty good show.
I think the story is picking up, and that I still can't quite get past the over emotion of each character, the facial expressions, the movement. It's still a little over the top for me, but
yeah, no, but see that to me reminds me of like the old style cartoons, like I'm trying to think which ones, but before they really went to the more modern, like Clone Wars and Rebels kind of thing, when it was like they used to have a little more, like, it was more emotion in the acting and less in the actual animation, but it has that feeling to it. It took me a while to get used to. Never felt their costumes looked Star Warsy to me.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one too. It looks too much like NASCAR outfits,
right,
or something. Which I get, they were supposed to be racers, but
yeah, but yeah, I think it came out. It ended their season and started the new season pretty good, and it's still funny. Like, it's not overly heavy, but I mean, considering it's a kids show, they've pretty much blown up and killed a lot of things for a kids show.
All faceless people, I assume.
Yeah, well, not as bad as Rebels. When Rebels, they cut those two dudes' heads off pretty early in the season. Those two Imperial guys. And
That's right.
Like, remember you heard like the thud or something when they hit the ground?
That was kind of brutal.
Yeah.
I think even Clone Wars got away with not doing much of that for a while.
Right. Well, they had the I think it was like the 4th episode of Clone Wars was when they had that Padawan get killed. It was
yeah, I think so.
I forget the guy's name, whose Padawan it was now, but he was the same species as Akbar.
Yeah, so it was Kit Fisto's Padawan.
Right. And that was because I remember Zoe was like, I guess so she was 7 or 8 or something like that, and I remember we were worried of her watching that. That episode, because a lot of times I would watch the episode before or preview it before. But yeah, that was I don't know. I mean, have you been keeping up with the comic books?
As best as I could, yeah. I thought I was up to date. There might have been a few released since the last time I checked. I only pop in and look at the list every so often.
Yeah, I forget, and then I get all the Star Wars titles. If you're not careful, you can have way too many comic books to pick up if you miss a couple weeks, because they churn out a few. But yeah, I should probably catch up on that so we can talk. I just started the one with the bounty hunters looking for Vader, which I know I'm a little bit behind.
I think I remember that one. Is that like he's like stranded somewhere? Was that?
I think he gets stranded. I just got the one where they hired someone to take out Vader. I just read the first issue because I grabbed a big stack. I was behind, and so I just got to sit down and turn out some books here.
Which one was that titled?
I don't know. Is it? No, I don't. I can't even remember. It's sitting. It's not in here. I would get up and look. But
is it one of the like Castle Vader or
something
Vader Down?
Yeah, it's like I don't know. Maybe is it Vader Down? I don't know. I heard all the comic books are going to be wrapped up at the end of this year, and then they're going to start a whole new series of all the books.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of a good, like, for those listening. If you just feel overwhelmed, you can restart. Because I like reading like 10 issues at a time, and so then I fall behind because if I don't do that regularly, that's a lot to catch up to. But I like to read. When I was big into comic books, I used to read like 10 at a time. I just wait, so that's just how I read them.
Yeah, so you're not stuck waiting week by week for each issue to come out.
Right, and then while you're reading those 10, then you build up another backlog. But
I think I am caught up with. I'm caught up with Afra. I was caught up with the main Star Wars storyline. I don't know if they've released a new one since then.
Yeah, I'm way behind on that. That's the one I probably like the least. The main Star Wars one.
It's gotten kind of stale.
Yeah.
Like, because our heroes are in trouble. Oh, now the heroes are safe again.
Yeah, and I think that's what happened. It sometimes. I like the stories, but they sometimes seem very reminiscent of the EU. What I didn't like about the EU, like it was more of like the A-Team TV show put with Star Wars characters.
Yeah,
like, okay, what adventure is we gonna do? And then it pretty much ends with everyone in the same spot.
Yeah, because it's always Luke, Han, Leia, Chewie, C-3PO, R2 on an adventure.
Right.
Sometimes they'll split off, but even each issue is still following. It keeps going back to each of them and whatever their individual groups are, which I guess is the point of that storyline.
Yes, yeah. But I like the Afra and like appearances of people that I don't know what's going on, because they could literally do anything with those characters.
Yeah.
They could have them killed or whatever, and it wouldn't hurt the canon, which is what I like. I would
Exactly.
I would like to see stories of the clones. Like I would like to see like Rex and Wolf
That
and
would be
those
interesting.
living
Yeah.
on that walker. You know, almost like a comical story just for those three guys living on that walker.
Yeah.
Or how Gregor got all messed up when they found him in the void. You know?
Yeah, really. I would like to have seen what happened to Gregor between the Void and Rebels.
Yep. Now, see, that'd
I
be a
think
good
that would be
comic.
cool.
That'd be a good comic book too.
Yeah, you're right. We should call Marvel about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Have them take care of it quick before this is over.
Call Matt Martin. I think Matt Martin. See, I this is slightly off topic, but at Celebration, Zoe was being interviewed by, man, I forget, Jordan Hembrough, the guy who does some shows for the Star Wars show.
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan Hembrough had some helpers with him. And the one guy who I thought was one of Jordan's helpers, I was talking to him about 000, and was just normal. Wow, because it took them. They did like a 2-minute segment. It took like a half hour or whatever to do. And then after we left, I realized that was Matt Martin, one of the story group guys.
Oh.
So I was like, wow, because I would have had him sign, because I think he had something to either do with the writing of 000 or creation of 000. I was like, I could have had him sign the inside of her helmet, you know. So, but that was my near story group person meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Now the guy who does Chewbacca, the new guy, Jonas, Jonas, he's gonna be in Steel City.
Oh yeah, that's
in
right.
December. I think he's the only Star Wars guy.
Well, he's gonna get harassed by fans. That's for sure.
Well, or we can hang out with him on Saturday night. That's the one nice thing about Steel City. You're all trapped in the middle.
Oh, yeah, maybe he's still young enough and new enough to this that'll be fun for him.
Well, I follow him and he seems like he still enjoys it, you know. So, and he's also one of those. He's one of those.
The big guys are.
Yeah, but he's also one of those people that if he wants to be anonymous, he could, except for his height, he could probably get away with it. Like he could just throw a cap on, and for the average person, you could even say, "Look, there's Jonas," and it'd be like, "Yeah, I don't know who that is."
Oh yeah, I guess that's true.
So,
hasn't been in the role long enough to be totally famous for it.
Right. Well, and I think he did. I think him and Peter had a good relationship, and he moved on. Like he helped him make it, because I liked him in Solo. So.
Yeah.
Was that
they need to keep making Star Wars movies with Chewbacca in it, otherwise Jonas is going to be out of the job.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that's where I think the Disney Plus is going to, because you have the Mandalorian coming up, so in theory, you could have Chewie wander through there. You know, like.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because there's no real big story where he's been. Like there's a lot of gaps where he's been between the end of episode 6 episode 6 and episode 7. And you have the Cassian show, which is another one that you could have. It takes place a couple years. I think the Cassian show takes place a couple years before Solo. So you could have the capture, because if Chewie was in that cage on Solo, he wasn't in that cage for long. So he was a freedom fighter or something at some point, because he was in Imperial prison.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So there is some use for him. And if they do the Lando show or something like that, or miniseries, you could have him.
That's what they could do for anyone now that they've got new and younger actors for all those characters.
And you could have Chewie show up on the Obi-Wan show.
These are all starting to sound like late night talk shows.
I know, right?
The Obi-Wan show.
No, in the Obi-Wan miniseries, because Obi-Wan.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor confirmed that.
Yeah, and Obi-Wan. Like. Now, did he meet Chewbacca before? I'm trying to think if he met Chewbacca.
I don't think he did, because Chewbacca was still on Kashyyyk when Yoda was there, but Obi-Wan was never.
No, but I'm talking about in the Clone Wars in the cartoon.
Oh, like when Ahsoka was rescued from those Trandoshans,
Right.
Was Obi-Wan there when?
Yeah, I can't remember. Now I gotta go watch that.
Well, oh, okay, I guess because he met him as old Obi-Wan. I think it would be rude for them to act like they met before, because in A New Hope, it seemed like it was the first time that Obi-Wan and Chewbacca had met.
Yeah, well, he just said he did say Chewbacca here. Like he did, depending on how you read that.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Because he didn't say this
From
Wookiee, this
GG
Wookiee here.
point of view.
Huh? Yeah. Well, it's funny because so much of the universe is based on how Alec Guinness said something. Like, everyone's thoughts on the Clone Wars are based on him stroking his beard, talking about the Clone Wars, just like a throwaway line. And that whole line built, for years what all of us thought about the Clone Wars before they made the Clone Wars.
I guess that's true.
Because when I was a kid, I thought the Clone Wars was they were cloning people, and they were like you were like fighting yourself.
Oh.
That's what I thought when I was little.
Oh yeah, I guess that's I need to think about it from the point of view of you guys who had to wait to learn. I as a child always already knew what the Clone Wars.
Right, I had to wait like decades. I think first I had to figure out what the hell's a clone, because I don't even think that was a really well used word in the 70s.
Oh. Yeah, I guess that sort of technology hadn't already been very widely explored yet. Oh, excuse me.
So.
I would like to see more from the one character from going back to the Marvel Star Wars comics.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see more from the Scar Squadron and Sergeant Creel, the kick-ass stormtrooper with a lightsaber.
Oh yeah.
I liked him, and I liked them, and we're gonna get a little bit of that sort of style with the Bad Batch,
right,
coming up in the new Clone Wars, but with like the ragtag group of different soldiers that are different that have different specialties.
Well, I wonder if we'll see some of that in the Mandalorian. Because you have to think of, like, those characters all of a sudden are out of a job. And
yeah, really.
I mean, no, but if you look at, like, so almost all Star Wars emulates some certain periods of history. Like George Lucas was, like, studied history. And it seems like Filoni and all those guys are kind of following his lead. And if you look at, so at the end of the Civil War, all those soldiers, north and south, just headed west. And so if you think of, in the Star Wars sense, you have all these soldiers, good and bad, they're going to head to the outer rim.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
And you can have that same, lawlessness, because they're all good at fighting, but not good at doing anything else, and so it could... It opens a potential of, tons and tons of storylines, and I think the one nice thing Disney has going for it is, comic books and all this other stuff, they're almost like they can feel the pulse of what the fans want.
Mm-hmm.
You can look, we're getting X amount of these comic books are selling, and then with Disney Plus, they can see who's watching what.
Yeah, that's true. Better metric, better way to measure.
Yeah. Because the Western is what I think everyone's wanted out of Star Wars ever since they saw Han Solo sitting in that bar with that Western looking rig on his leg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. That makes sense.
I mean, Tatooine is my favorite. Since I was a kid, all the Tatooine scenes I like more than anything. Like, I was upset when it was Jakku and not Tatooine again. And even on The Phantom Menace. I probably watched The Phantom Menace more than any other movie because so much happens on that planet. Even the sand people shooting at the pod race. I love that.
I didn't know you were so emotionally attached to Tatooine.
No, it's like, I don't know if it was when I grew up. There was, and I know everyone always says it, like George Lucas made his thing look used, but Tatooine looked real, like it looked used, and that's because that was the first thing you really saw in Star Wars, besides the stuff on the ship. You know, it looked.
Yeah,
like,
I guess that's true.
It looked so convincingly real because if you look at, think of what I had to watch when I was a kid. I literally went from the old Star Trek to that. So look at any desert scene on the old Star Trek. You know, and then look at Tatooine. It's you know, night and day. Or any science fiction movie they came out in the 70s. And when I was a kid, it just blew my mind. And also, you know, like the way the footage was, you know, it just was shot like it was, you know, I don't know, like the stormtroopers were crusty. They looked like they were busy, you know, doing stuff. Sand troopers.
Yeah, it was the first used galaxy.
Yeah.
I just watched a little while ago before we started this that I was trying to avoid it because I'm not a fan of them. It was the George Lucas reaction video.
Oh yeah, I saw that posted up, but I didn't watch it.
I'm mad. I'm sad about it. It made me sad. I'm not happy that I watched it. Don't watch it. George Lucas, he was bitter the entire time.
But I mean, this wasn't really him.
Was he pretend?
But I mean, this wasn't his reaction, was it? This was someone making a parody of his reaction?
As from what I could tell, it was the video of him. Unless it was, sure, it was staged a bit, but
okay.
Unless he like said all the things he said to be joking, but it sounded sincere to me.
I mean, it's not that same technology they used to make the guy from Parks and Rec on all of the Full House characters, is it? What's that called? Deep fakes? It's not deep fake software?
I don't know. You see, now I'm starting to doubt it.
Yeah, because I mean, did you ever see that deep fake software? Like, you have to look up deep fake, and they can put, like, with this new software that you can pretty much get for free, they can put your face on anything and make it emote like you were actually there.
Huh.
You have to look up deep fake Full House or something like that. And there's a whole video of how good that deep fake software is.
I won't do that now.
Yeah, but it's, you know, it's not Star Wars. I saw the things for the George Lucas thing because I like George Lucas, and I think I see it some of that other stuff. I still think some of the stuff he said is still slightly out of context in the sense that, like, he was getting badgered about things, and at a certain point, I think George Lucas has never been the best when it comes to just talking to people without being prepared. And I think some of that stuff is just kind of like they're just trying to make controversy where there isn't, because it seemed.
Oh, yeah.
Are you seeing?
Yeah, it does look like it was deep faked.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't read that part.
Oh, good. Okay.
I feel stupid, and I feel relieved because I was actually getting really angry.
Well, I'm glad I saved the day for you.
Oh my gosh! Thank you. Oh boy.
Isn't it the old guy that's supposed to be faked by that stuff?
You'd think so, right? Well, I'm not exactly 1,000% on board with a lot of this, especially YouTube culture.
Yeah, no, unfortunately I have to learn it, just the nature of my job. But yeah, no, I mean, I think when with George Lucas and all that, I think it was hard for him. I think it was. I mean, I don't feel bad for him because he did get $4 billion plus. So I don't feel that bad for him in a way, but I do think it was probably hard for him to get rid of it because he was basically an independent filmmaker until he sold it, and I just think it was a big, for him to see what he made. Again, remembering that he got $4 billion for it, but plus all the money he made in between, but it was probably just hard for him to see that like he didn't have full say on it,
Yeah.
And like we would have never got Clone Wars if it was a main company, because if you listen to interviews with Dave Filoni and them, he put more money in that show than probably should have. Just because he started really liking it. Like Dave Filoni started it, and then George got more and more involved in it.
Oh.
Which is good for Dave. I mean, imagine being mentored by George Lucas.
Yeah, really. And then it was Dave who mentored Jon Favreau?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that worked. Because I think Favreau was a voice actor on Clone Wars. He did.
Yeah, he was pre-Vizsla.
Yeah. And so probably along with Favreau bringing Iron Man to life. But yeah, there's just tons of Star Wars and what to look forward to. Did you do Force Friday? Triple Force Friday?
Kinda. I didn't go too hard on it. Actually it just came in the mail today. I ordered on Amazon the speaking of the Sith Trooper, but the Amazon exclusive with it was the shiny graphite Sith Trooper or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't get
crazy.
I didn't get anything. I stayed away from the pops, and then we went to like late Friday night because I just forgot about it because there was no midnight, so we went late Friday night and pretty much everything there wasn't anything good that we really wanted.
Yeah.
And I don't need any more pops, so
I do want to get the Mandalorian pop. It's not out yet. Oh, but it's dropped 9% on Amazon. Okay, now I might pre-order that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few select ones I want, and I think the last Smuggler's Bounty comes out this month, and then they're doing away with that.
Interesting.
I didn't buy... Well, ever since Amazon took over, the Smuggler's Bounty wasn't as nice.
Yeah, I've noticed they've been kind of lackluster.
Yeah. Now, they had the big Millennium Falcon pop. Did you see that?
I have seen that, yeah.
But it just seemed too big for... I'd rather have if I had a Falcon, I'd rather have it without a pop head sticking out of it.
Well, then you could get any toy Falcon.
Yeah, right. That's what I mean. So I just, it wasn't worth the, I think they were like $50 or something like that.
Yikes, for a pop?
Well, but it was like a giant Falcon.
Yeah.
Like it was,
Still.
It was pretty big. But it was like $50 and guys were selling it for like $80 before it even came out.
Oh my gosh.
I still have my sail barge too.
You haven't hacked that off yet?
No, it's just sitting there. It's not even open, so I will one of these days. That's low on my list of things to do.
I mean, hey, if you're interested in giving it away for free to a guy who has no open space left in his house.
Yeah, I think you'd probably have to stand it up. Because it's humongous.
I could probably, if I mount it correctly, I could probably hang it from the ceiling somewhere. That would be pretty sick.
That's one of those things, though, you would have to spend twice as much just on figures. Like, I see guys that have them. Yeah. And then they're going nuts on trying to chase down all the figures. And so, like a big investment just turned into like a really, really big investment. Because I think they stopped doing the 3 3/4 line.
Oh, yeah.
Because now they have that other line of, like, they're more animated looking figures. They're like
from the Galaxy of Heroes or something that they were doing on YouTube.
Which is kind of good. Except, I mean, then at least because before you were stuck with, oh look, I have Han, and then I have just slightly bigger Han, and they kind of look the same. At least now you can have different styles.
Yeah.
But I think Safi got the Jawa. Well, she did buy that at Force Friday. But
the red-eyed Mandalorian Jawa.
Yeah.
The off-world Jawa.
Yeah, off-world Jawa. I think that's the only one she got. And we've been hitting the GameStop has been putting a bunch of their Star Wars stuff on clearance to get room for all the new stuff. So like you can see like that red and white Stormtrooper helmet. It's like $25 or something like that.
Oh, no kidding.
The First Order Nerf blaster. I think the last one I saw was $25. There's big Han fuzzy dice, like $4. The Death Star waffle maker, $7. So yeah, they're getting. The guy told me, he said they're just making room for all the new Star Wars stuff coming. I've been picking up the Star Wars Pez. They're like $2 for the little Star Wars Pez dispensers, like the Pops Pez, the bigger ones.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'll have to go check out a GameStop if they're selling because I love the Shock Trooper helmet. If they're selling that or even if it's an incinerator or something.
Yeah, it's the ones from I think they're from Coruscant, right? The ones with the red.
So the Shock Troopers.
Yeah, it's from the sculpt. It's the sculpt of the Solo or the Rogue One Stormtrooper. So it's like you and I.
It's the Black Series, right?
Yeah, it's the Black Series with the little dents, the little divots instead of the blue stickers and all that. And it has the earpieces with the little, not the lines on it like yours and mine, but the Rogue One helmet and stuff.
Yeah.
Because the helmet maker in me thought, how much silicone would it take to? But it has a battery, but it has the battery pack and speaker in the back of the helmet.
Yeah, no. To make it approvable, you got to file that down or fill that in and sand it down, and I think there are some other changes that need to be done to it too.
Yeah. Well, and that's Mark, a friend of mine. He picked one up and was asking me, "Oh, what can I?" And I told him, I said, "You could probably buy a kit from someone cheaper than what it would for all the effort it would take you to make that approvable." And then you've just destroyed something that someone might want down the line.
Yeah, really.
Because a collector's not going to want you or my helmet as much as they would want that Black Series helmet.
Yeah. Who knows if it's a decent? I think they're a half decent voice changer in there. It might just be fun to wear around as what it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Just leave it more as a showpiece, as how it came. Because the Poe Dameron helmet's really nice. I got that for like $30 when it was going out, and that was a nice one. So, but I think that's all we got for now, unless you can think of anything we just rambled on for.
Yeah, this is I think possibly our least structured episode.
Yeah. Well, we'll get that. That's well, I just read a statistic. The average podcast lasts less than 2 years. So this is our 2-year anniversary this Christmas, right? Now we don't have technically we don't have many podcasts, but we could say we're doing it quarterly, right? So Zoe just hit her 4-year mark with 150 episodes.
Yeah, there we go.
So
that's worth celebrating.
Yeah,
we're just doing a really long, slow burn. So right. we're going. We will die out at probably the same number of episodes.
Yeah, it'd just be.
But it'll just take us. Yeah, it'll take us longer to get there.
We just need more correspondence. What we need to do is we need to find 4 or 5 more guys that want to do a podcast, and then if we all just do it as haphazard as you and I do it, we could fill our feet up.
Yeah. We don't all necessarily need to be on at the same time.
Yeah, just look, just turn it in when it's ready.
It would become the Carida Cast Collective.
There we go. Then we'd have to get more patches made.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I'll have to rip this one off my vest and sew a new one on.
Yeah, yeah. But we can at least probably get one recorded somewhere around the release of Solo.
Oh yeah,
I mean
oh,
Solo.
yeah,
What am I saying?
definitely.
I'm looking at a Han Solo pop right now.
Hey, I was gonna say, man, you really are running behind, aren't you?
No, I'm looking at the Chewbacca with goggles on of the Solo pops. And
Gotcha.
I like the little minis of those, the mystery minis, the Solo mystery minis. They were nice. So
Yeah, we'll do a post Rise of Skywalker, or if there's any like new crazy information beforehand, maybe we'll do something.
Yeah. Well, once Halloween's over, I'm a little more free. I have to work on Halloween stuff, and then I have to finish. I have to finish repairing 000, and then I will have a lot of free time. So, thanks for listening. I'm Mike TK5351. Please rate us on iTunes or SoundCloud or Stitcher. I think we're on. I don't know if I'm trying to put us on all the stuff that Zoe's podcast is on too. But whatever you listen to podcasts, please give us a rating. And
yeah.
And you are.
Good. Oh, and I'm Colin TK97670.
Yeah. Oh, I'm TK5351 too. So
yeah.
Please rate us. Send us an email. I'm Mike at CaridaCast.com. Still Colin at CaridaCast.com. You can check our webpage out, but I haven't done much for that yet.
So don't check the webpage out.
Well, it at least links them to where they can listen to the show. And if you're in the Pennsylvania area and you see a stormtrooper, just ask if it's Mike or Colin. And if it's us, say hi.
If something looks like it's wrong with the armor, it's probably one of us.
Yes. If it's old FX armor or it has a busted cod piece, it's one of us. Or usually if 000's around, I'm around.
Yeah, that's true.
Or Sabine.
000 is the more accurate indicator these days.
Right. All right. Let me stop that.
Okay. Bye. May the force be with you.